Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how I got my first cabin crew job, and my experience and the rejections I faced while I was looking for a cabin crew job. So I remember vividly well the first cabin crew interview I went for was Virgin Nigeria. Before Virgin Nigeria came into um, Nigeria, I've always been a fan of Richard Branson, and I've always, I looked up to him. Was like my mentor. I've read his book, How I Lost My Virginity. So when they announced that he was going to start an airline in Nigeria, I was really very excited about the opportunity. It was the first interview I went for, and I remember they first of all gave us maths and English, and I passed the maths, but the English I did not, and the reason is because of my mindset. I remember really what they did was they gave us a comprehension passage to read, and we were meant to read it for like 10 minutes. So the fact that they told us that we should read it for like 10 minutes, I was scared I was not going to be able to meet up. So that mindset of fear, there was so much fear in me that I thought I was not going to pass, and what you're afraid of most times always comes to pass. And so I ended up not going through that second stage of English exams. So the second time they gave us another opportunity. This time around they held the interview at Sheraton Hotel, and they told people to come over, submit their CVs, and they were going to get back to us. It was a very hectic day. It was a two-day recruitment exercise, but because there was so much crowd, I couldn't even get in. So the following day I came again. It was the same thing. At a point when the crowd was so much, they now announced that they wanted people that had cabin crew license, and at that point I gave up because I didn't have any cabin crew license. I didn't have any experience. So that day when I got home, I cried my eyes out. I really cried. At a point I even wanted to give up, because I was like, I thought this was something I wanted and all. And where my house is, I usually see airplanes pass, and every time I see airplanes pass, I'm always like, one day I'm going to walk in an airplane. Okay, so like a few months passed, and I got an invite to an interview by a private jet, and I went for the interview, and they told where I think four or three of us were picked, and they told us that they were going to evaluate us for 1 month, and after that 1 month they were going to give us our employment letter. Unfortunately for me, to cut the whole story short, I wasn't successful. And I remember vividly well that the owner of the private jet did not even like me. He felt I lacked class. Yes, I remember the word. He told me that I didn't have any form of class, and I mean the way I dressed, the clothes I'm wearing, they're so old and ugly. I remember the words he said to me. I felt really bad. I was so unhappy. When I got home, I told my mom the exact thing that the man said to me, and I remember vividly well that my mother gave me money and told me that I should go and buy myself a pair of trouser suits. That the next interview I was going to go for, I was going to wear a new trouser suit. Even till this day, I still have that trouser suit. This is like 13 years after. I still have that trouser suit. That trouser suit is very, 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 I'm so attached to that suit because it signifies a lot for me. So all this while I had actually heard about a new airline that was starting up, but because the airline was just starting up, and I was also hearing some negative comments that the money they were going to pay was not much, and all that, I didn't bother trying to go and submit my CV. But after that issue with that private jet, a friend of mine, very good, we're like 3 of us that were looking for a job, and so one of us actually went to submit her CV there, and she called me and told me that I should also go and submit my CV there, and I told her okay. So I decided to go and submit my CV there, and 2 weeks after I was invited for interview, and I wore that trouser suit that my mom gave me money to go and buy, so. And to be honest with you, I can never forget the interview process that I did with Arik. Yes, my first cabin crew job was with Arik Air. It was fantastic. And I think the reason why I did exceptionally well is because, you know, those times when I didn't pass my interview, like, you know, I told you the first one I went for was Virgin Nigeria. I told you what happened with the English. They told us that they gave us a comprehension passage. They told us to read it for 10 minutes. After reading that comprehension passage, they will collect the comprehension passage from us. And from what you have read, you have to answer 10 comprehension questions. So you can imagine. So I felt I was not, you know, able to meet up. You know, I went for another interview with Virgin Nigeria. Even before that one that they did in Sheraton, I went for another one. This time around, I scaled through the maths and I scaled through the English. And the reason is because when I got home, I gave myself a comprehension passage. I did exactly what they did at that time, and I realized that I actually had the capability to. It was just the mindset. I was scared that I wasn't going to meet up. And so when I went for the next interview, I did exceptionally. I passed the maths and English of Virgin Nigeria. Now, when I passed the maths and English, they gave us a group exercise. After the group exercise, I scaled through that group exercise. So where I you know, floored myself was the one-on-one interview questions. And I will never forget the lady. She works with Virgin Atlantic. Her name is Sally. She asked me, "Why do you want to be a cabin crew?" To be honest with you, I never even prepared. I did not even prepare for that interview. She asked me why I wanted to be a cabin crew, and I remember my answer very well. I told her I want to be a cabin crew because it's a very risky job because of plane crash, and I'm a risk taker. And the next thing Sally told me that sorry, that there will never be a plane crash in, you know, because my answer was kind of negative, so she countered it with a positive statement. So that was why I floored myself. It's so funny. So when I finally, when I was invited for Arik interview, I took my time to go through my past experiences. Maths and English, I prepared myself. Why do you want to be a cabin crew? I took my time to figure out the kind of answer I would give intelligently. In all my rejections, I never looked at myself as a failure. I will not lie to you that at a point I almost gave up, but every time I just say a short prayer, I just always hear a short voice that keep going, you'll get there. And that gave me the strength, and I know it's the voice of the Holy Spirit. And so I knew I kept on fighting with faith, and I believed in myself. I didn't have any cabin crew license. Even at a point, I remember I told my mom that maybe I should go to an aviation school and get this cabin crew license, maybe to make me get a job faster. And my mom told me that at that time she was unable to afford the amount they were calling back then to get a cabin crew license. And I'll never forget, I prayed to God and I told God that please just help me get this. This has been my dream. Just give me the one that will train me. And so when I went for the Arik interview, I did exceptionally well. They put us in a group exercise. Every member of my group was successful. After that group exercise, it was now time for the one-on-one interview. I told you that it was that one-on-one interview that made me not to scale through at that Virgin Nigeria. And I took my time. Before that day, I had gone to the internet and I had Googled how to answer some cabin crew questions, and I believe that I answered my questions intelligently. Now, I think it was 6 of us that scaled through to the final stage, and I collected numbers of all of them so that we can keep in touch with each other. And I noticed that the 5 of them called me and told me that they actually called them and told them they were not successful, and and they asked me if they had called me, and I said, no, that I haven't even heard from them. And funny thing, one of them says, they've not called you. Why now? The next thing I told her is that, are you hoping that I will not scale through? And so she just cut the line. So I didn't hear from them in like a month. And I remember I got home that day and I kept on thinking, I was like, God, so that they've not called me. And something within me just told me that they've not called you because you were successful. I was like, okay, let me just keep waiting. I will never forget the day I received the congratulations call. I was in my friend's office. She also she used to work, she also was a flight attendant working for a private jet also. So I sat down and I was talking with her and I was just telling her about my interview with Arik, and that was how my phone rang. And I will never forget the person who called me. Her name is Promise. Just to show you that my first cabin crew job, everything about the stage of recruitment, calling, her name is Promise. She's the one that called me. Said, hello, I'm Promise from Arik Air Human Resources, and I'm calling you to tell you that you were successful in your interview. Come and see the way I shouted. And I told my friend that I made it. My friend started shouting. All of us were just shouting. Promise was like, yesterday, just calm down. You're required to resume. Come and pick up your employment letter April 10. I've forgotten the date, but I know I started my training April 10, 2008. No, 2007. I remember I started my training April 10th, 2007. You know, and when I got home, my parents were so happy. My mom looked at me and said, oh, my child, you never gave up. You kept on fighting, even when the odds looked impossible, even when you thought that you were never going to get it because you didn't have a cabin crew license. I was like, even me, I was in tears. I said, I couldn't even believe it myself, you know. And I'm saying this story to try and encourage you. For you out there that maybe you faced a lot of rejections in your airline cabin crew job pursuit, I want you to hang in there. You will get it. Trust me. You will get it. Be very careful the voices you listen to. It's very important that you get your encouragement from the Holy Spirit. I didn't discuss these interview failures with anyone except my mom and I think my sister, because those two, I know that no matter what, they will always be there for me, you know. And at a point my mom even gave up, but I never gave up on myself. And that's what I'm trying to tell you also. Don't ever give up on yourself. Be extremely careful of the people you surround yourself with, because it matters a lot. And take your time to Google the internet. Find out about the expectations of you as a cabin crew so that you can answer the questions intelligently. You see, I prefer to work my way to the top. Sometimes some people get jobs as a result of their connections with someone. They say, I know somebody somewhere, so I got the job. The reason why I'm able to tell you this story, nobody helped me to get the job. Nobody. I worked my way to getting my first cabin crew job through the grace of God, because that was the power that helped me. But I did my own part too. I have never been the type to believe that it's when you know someone somewhere, that's when you get a job. If that's what you believe, if you don't know anybody, does it mean that you're going to remain where you are for life? No. So that's why I'm telling you that please stop. Don't think that it's until you know someone somewhere before you can. No. God is the creator of all things. He owns everything, and as once you know Him, you see, He will bring it to you. It might not come at the time that you expect, but one thing I can tell you, that it will come at the best time. It will come at the best time. I didn't have any license. Arik trained me. I flew with Arik as I did their local flights for like 2.5 years, and I became an international crew with Arik. I was in only international flight. Just to tell you, you see, He makes things beautiful in His time. I became an international crew. From being an international, I became a VIP crew. So He blessed me. He blessed me because I trusted in His power. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But he always strengthened me, and he always kept on telling me, just keep moving, you will get there, keep moving. And I'm telling you also, keep fighting. When I mean keep fighting, I don't mean I don't mean going to go and sleep with someone to get the job. No. Keep fighting in prayer. Keep browsing the internet. You will finally get it. Have a good day. As usual, my name is ATTENDANT. I have a book, Life of a Flight Attendant. In that book, I even have 20 interview questions because I know what I struggled with. I was rejected like 4 times before I finally knew what I had to know to scale through an interview. And so I want to also help you. So click on the link below and order for the book. It will be of great help to you. And I also have another book, When You Feel Unloved and Rejected. It will also help you to remind you of your significance. Because one of the things you have to realize is that you have what it takes. You have what it takes. You have what it takes. My name is ATTENDANT. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. A lot I have to give to you.